Hello all the crazy people out there, my name is Dragonite, welcome back to Pokemon White. Last time, we progressed down Route 4, battling people as we went, and this time we're going to be progressing sideways down Route 4, battling more people, and visiting the desert resort. So first, I believe... yeah, there's still more trainers to fight out this way that I didn't get last time. There's going to be a couple trainers between here and our next location, the desert resort, and then there's going to be a lot of trainers in the desert resort. There's just going to be a lot of battling in general in the next 20 minutes or so of video, and I didn't expect to do quite so much of this early in the game, but depending on just how tired I get of talking and moving on to the next person and fighting and moving on to the next person and fighting, I might do another gauntlet section. Why did I use Rock Smash? Headbutt would have done more damage by like a lot. I might do another gauntlet section where I just like speed up the boring part of fighting trainer after trainer after trainer after trainer, and then like go immediately to where I actually, I don't know, do something a little more interesting. Whether or not I really get to make it into Nimbasa City in this video remains to be seen. I'm kind of just assuming that I'll be spending the entirety of this video in the desert resort. You are going to tell me about Pokemon that are not going to take damage from Sandstorm. TM28 Dig, alright, that's actually pretty convenient. So I'll be able to teach that to at least one of my Pokemon. If I go into my items, and if I go into my TMs, TM28 Dig, I will be able to teach that to Zach, for some ground-type coverage, and... you know, I'm just gonna get rid of Low Kick. By the time that Low Kick is starting to do more damage because the Pokemon I'm gonna be fighting are a little bit bigger and heavier, I'm gonna have access to better fighting-type moves anyway. So I'll be teaching Dig over that, and as for Gummy, Gummy's gonna learn Dig, and... Rock Smash, let's get rid of Rock Smash. I'd rather raise my attack than lower the opponent's defense if I have the option, and Gummy also knows Work-Up, so we'll be using that instead of Rock Smash. I lose a little bit of fighting-type coverage there, but shouldn't be that much of a problem. I should have enough general coverage on Gummy that I'm able to get by. Alright, I don't have a Repel on, and I'm gonna see how long I can go without needing one. So let me try and actually walk through those bits of wild sand, and yeah, there's some ruins coming up. I bought a bunch of Super Repels, by the way. I forgot that those became available to me. About 50 of them. That should probably last me for a good long while, at least until Max Repels become available. Let's see. Pokemon, just like in Cage, you can run into Pokemon almost anywhere in the desert. Okay, so that is in contrast to the Route 4 kind of desert where there is basically the sand that acts as wild grass, is it? Oh no, there's also the deep sand in here. Alright, that kid was making it sound like this is a dungeon. This is a doctor. If I beat you in combat, I will be able to come back to you and heal, which is convenient because it's going to be a long walk back to the nearest Pokemon Center. From this point, it's actually closer to the next city than it is to the previous city, but even so, it is still going to be quite a walk going back to that city, should I move onwards, that it would be to go back to Castilia City, and I'm glad that there would be a doctor here. I guess there's also that safe house on Route 4. This is really kind of the beginning of the era in Pokemon where we started to see NPCs who will heal you in the middle of routes that weren't just Pokemon Centers. There was a tiny bit of that in like Heart Gold and Soul Silver on, I think, Route 27, the one that was right before Victory Road, but in Gen 5 is when it really started to become much more common. Alright. Came to clear out the desert resort to train, but there's so many ground-type Pokemon and I'm already in tatters. Yeah, they can be a little on the tough side, can't they? Do I have a Repel on? I think I put a Repel on. I see a couple backpackers. Okay. Immediately coming over here, fighting the next backpacker. Is that another trainer I see up there at the top of the screen? Or is that someone else? I think that's someone else. Why must confusion be what it is? Alright. Fortunately, the doctor's right here, so I can heal that off pretty easily. And, let's try and make it a little bit farther into this area before I have to heal again, shall we? Yeah, so there is an item right next to me. That is going to be a... Black glasses. Okay. Power up dark type moves by a little bit. You are not a trainer, but... you will give me a soft sand. Alright, power up. Ground type moves by a little bit. I don't know what you're doing here. As far as I know, this is just a random NPC that doesn't have anything to do with anything. It's not like a reference to any plot-related anything or that sort of thing. He's just a guy who looks suspicious, who's handing out soft sand to people in the desert. Don't think too hard about it. See, I'm going to... boy. No, not that. Not the Miracle Seed. Repel. Before I go into that dungeon-like place, I am gonna run up and down a little bit to see if there's anything more to do outside. I mean, like, I know that there's more to do outside, but I'm gonna try and do the outside things before going into the castle. There's no real reason for this, it's just that I kind of feel like I'm gonna forget if I go into the castle and then come back outside and try to remember, like, what I'd seen and what I hadn't yet. Alright. Fresh water. That's a weird thing to find in the desert. Whoever dropped that there, I'm sorry. I have one more regular repel, and then it's off to using not max repels, but super repels. This is the entrance to the ruins. Also, man, there's something else I wanted to say, and I've already forgotten what it was. That's awkward. I'm sure it'll come to me eventually. Let's see, that's an ether. And, alright, that's the last regular repel. Super repels. I look forward to you lasting twice as long as regular repels. The super repels can be found up here. Okay, very nice. This item is a super potion. I can still make use of those. And, did I fight you yet? I did fight you. I didn't fight you. Okay. And that, honestly, kind of leads to one of the more common criticisms of desert areas in video games in general, is that, like, they tend to all look the same, and they tend to be really hard to orient yourself in, especially if you're in a game with, like, a fixed perspective where, like, any one section, like this section looks an awful lot like this section, looks an awful lot like this section, looks an awful lot like, you get the point. And it's just hard to figure out where you are without as many, like, landmarks to guide your eye towards as you would have in most of the other parts of the game. Let's see. Down here, another psychic. Alright, let's take out my frustrations on psychics. Anyway, desert areas in games are of course not the only areas in games that can have that problem, but they are definitely the most common part of the game in which you will find problems like that, the most common, like, biomes. Definitely not all desert areas in games have that problem. For example, Route 4 itself, I think is pretty good about having distinct landmarks, and you don't really get lost on Route 4 itself the way that you might get lost running back and forth in the middle of the desert area at the desert resort area here. And Black 2 and White 2 are also going to make some adjustments and changes to Route 4 that make it a little bit more interesting still to like walk around and explore despite still being desert areas. Just, for any prospective designers out there, just a little bit of food for thought with regards to thinking about ways that you can possibly mix it up a little bit and just break up the monotony a little bit in desert areas, and more importantly, keep the player from getting lost. Sometimes you might want to create a feeling of monotony on purpose in game design, but it's much less common that you might want to, like, make the player get lost on purpose, because that usually leads to players getting annoyed and, you know, stopping and going to play something else. Are you the last trainer in this area? Because there's been a lot of trainers in this area. I'm gonna say starting in Gen 6-ish, we started seeing a bit of a trend in reducing the number of trainers on routes and trying to make the trainers that you did find on routes a little bit more interesting than just like 4 Magikarp or 4 Boscawen or like 17 Rattata or whatever. But sometimes when I go back to like Black and White 1 or the games that are like Gen 4 or 5, the games that are kind of on the verge of the modern era of Pokemon, I'm a little surprised at how many trainers they still have on all the individual routes like that. And I don't think it's the worst, but I would rather fight a small number of trainers that have interesting teams than like a large number of trainers that kind of all look the same. And that's pretty sure that's what I started saying at that one time a few minutes ago when I just kind of lost the thread in the middle of the sentence. I misspoke earlier when I said that this was an area that you could only come to after fighting Berg's gym. That was just Charon's rival battle. You could still come past where Charon was standing and out as far as this before fighting Berg's gym. I'm pretty sure. Rock Slide, alright, interrupting the speedy bit a little bit to announce this. Rock Slide doesn't have perfect accuracy, which is annoying, but it's much stronger than Smackdown. and should be dishing out a lot more damage against not only things that it's super effective to, but things that are neutral hits against it. Really? One step without a repel and I run into a Sandile. At least Sandile's cute. Not using it on my team, but... Alright. Let's get out of here, and I swear, if I'm not able to get away from a Sandile... What is my life? I hate this game. I discussed in the past, like, the you can't get away mechanic, right? And why that's a thing, whether or not you agree with it. But, like, what I don't get about that mechanic is why it's based on your user's speed and not, like, level or something like that. Because it leads to weird situations like this. Anyway, that's fine, I guess. That's fine. Line is up to level 30. And as I'm sure you've all heard me say before at some point in the past, without any better system to go on, I usually let my Pokemon get to, like, the next multiple of 5 before, like, switching someone else out into lead off and letting them train. You're gonna give me a fossil. Yes, this person will give you one of the 2 fossils of Unova. That can be the cover fossil or the plume fossil. The cover fossil being resurrected into a Caracosta, rock water type, basically a giant prehistoric turtle, and the plume fossil evolving isn't the right word, but being resurrected, I guess would be a better word, into a Archon/Archeops, which is probably my favorite fossil Pokemon in Pokemon. The name sort of implies a prehistoric bird. You know, Archaeopteryx, the whole thing. The definition of a glass cannon, it's got nonsensically high attack stat and some really good moves to use with it, but it's got an ability, it's got not good defenses, and it has an ability that will cut its offenses in half once its HP falls below half, which honestly is pretty easy to do, not only because its defenses are bad, but also because one of its best moves, Head Smash, is gonna do a lot of damage and a significant amount of recoil damage. But I really like Archeops. It was one of the Pokemon that I used out of tier in, like, higher tiers than it belonged in quite a lot when I did competitive in Gen 5. Anyway, that's it for the Desert Resort area. I'm going to run back to the main road, and I'm going to end things off here. Next time, we are going to be continuing forward into Nimbusa City. Not fighting the next gym leader quite yet, but I will be exploring Nimbusa, and I will be exploring some of the outlying areas. I hope you all enjoyed that. There's one more trainer. And I will see you all later.